Honestly, he's a placeholder, a sturdy shelf to put my life on until I find a penthouse. She said it between bites of sea bass, forks suspended in the air. The table laughed, a dry, brittle sound that matched the overstarched tablecloths. I didn't blink. I just signaled the waiter for the check. She called 2 hours later, screaming into my voicemail about abandonment. I texted back, "The shelf has collapsed. Good luck with the floor." Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy stories about karma and reclaiming your life, please smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps us out. Now, let's get into the story. The restaurant was one of those places where the lighting was too dim to read the menu and the acoustics were designed to amplify gossip. It was the kind of establishment Elena thrived in. Atmospheric, expensive, and utterly soulless. I loathed it. But tonight was a celebration of her promotion to Senior VP of Marketing, so I was playing my role. My role was the stable boyfriend, the architect who nodded at the right times, paid the exorbitant valet fees, and didn't overshadow her shine. I sat at the end of the table, nursing a whiskey that cost more than my first car payment. Elena was glowing, flanked by Julian and Sarah, her work besties who treated life like a reality TV show audition. They were discussing 5-year plans, or rather, Elena was broadcasting hers. "I mean, obviously, I'm looking at New York or London next year," she said, gesturing with a manicured hand. "This city's just cute, but it's a stepping stone." "What about Mark?" Julian asked, offering me a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. "Can he transplant his little drafting table?" That's when she said it. She didn't look at me. She looked at Sarah, rolling her eyes playfully. "Mark? Honestly? He's a placeholder, a sturdy shelf to put my life on until I find a penthouse. He's safe, you know? But God, can you imagine me married to safe forever? I'd die of boredom before 40. The table erupted in that dry, brittle laughter. In the movies, time stops. In reality, it accelerates. My hearing sharpened. I heard the clink of silverware, the ambient jazz, the intake of breath as she waited for me to play along, to be the good sport, to make a self-deprecating joke about being boring old Mark.
Instead, a switch flipped in the fuse box of my brain. It was the same feeling I got when I realized a structural beam was rotted through. A cold, mathematical assessment of immediate danger and necessary demolition. I wasn't hurt. I was the surprise. The affection I had for her, which I had thought was a foundational wall, turned out to be nothing more than wallpaper, and she had just ripped it down. I caught the waiter's eye. I handed him my card, whispered, "Split the bill evenly among the 6 of them, minus my drink," and slipped him a $50 tip for the trouble. I stood up. "Mark?" Elena asked, a flicker of annoyance crossing her face. "Where are you going? We haven't ordered dessert." "To the penthouse," I said calmly. "I hear the view is better." I walked out. I didn't stomp. I didn't slam the heavy oak door. I moved with the efficiency of a man who realizes he has walked into the wrong building. My phone started buzzing before I even reached my truck. Elena, then Julian, then Elena again. I tossed the phone onto the passenger seat. The drive home was silent. No radio, just the hum of the tires on the asphalt. I felt light, weightless. For 3 years, I had been carrying the emotional luggage of a woman who viewed me as a luggage cart. I arrived at our apartment, technically my apartment, which she had slowly colonized with beige aesthetic decor, and went straight to the office. It was the spare room where I kept my drafting supplies and the deeds to the property I'd inherited from my grandfather, a derelict farmhouse 2 hours north. Elena hated the farmhouse. She called it the hovel. She refused to visit it. I sat at my desk and opened a new notebook. I wrote one word at the top: demolition. Phase 1. The Purge. I grabbed 3 industrial trash bags. I went to the bathroom and cleared out my toiletries. I went to the closet and took only my clothes.
I left the furniture. I left the TV. I left the espresso machine she loved. Those were sunk costs. Phase 2, digital severance. I logged into the utility portal. The electric, the gas, the internet, all in my name. I scheduled a transfer of service to her name, effective in 48 hours. I removed my credit card from the shared Uber Eats, Amazon, and Netflix accounts. Phase 3, the extraction. I loaded the truck. It took 20 minutes. I was a minimalist by nature. She was the maximalist. My life fit into the bed of a Ford F-150 with room to spare. I left the key on the kitchen counter. Next to it, I placed the receipt for the ring I had been planning to buy next month. I hadn't bought it yet, just put down a deposit. I left the deposit slip there, ripped in half. I was on the highway heading north by the time she called again. This time, I answered. "Mark, are you insane?" Her voice was shrill, echoing against the tile of the restaurant bathroom. "You stuck us with the bill. Julian is furious. You need to come back here and apologize, right now." "I'm not coming back, Elena. Stop being dramatic. It was a joke. You're always so sensitive. God, this is exactly what I meant by boring. Do you have any idea how embarrassed I am?" "You said you wanted a penthouse," I said, my voice steady, stripped of all emotion. "I'm just clearing the shelf so you can find one." "What does that mean? Mark, if you're not home in 20 minutes, I'm locking you out." "You can't lock me out," I said. "I've already left. The keys are on the counter. The rent is paid through the end of the month. After that, it's all you." Silence. For the first time that night, she was speechless. "Goodbye, Elena." I hung up. Then I blocked her number. I blocked Julian. I blocked Sarah. I threw the phone into the cup holder and watched the city lights fade in the rearview mirror, replaced by the deep, swallowing darkness of the country roads.
The next month was a study in manual labor. The farmhouse was solid, but neglected. The roof needed patching, the floors needed sanding, and the overgrown briars on the porch needed a machete. I woke up with the sun. I worked until my muscles screamed. I slept like the dead. I didn't check social media. I didn't ask mutual friends about her. I existed in a vacuum of sawdust and solitude, and it was intoxicating. The flying monkeys arrived in week 5. My sister, who had always tolerated Elena for my sake, called me. "She's posting about you," she said, "vague booking, quotes about narcissistic abuse and abandonment. People are buying it, Mark. You should defend yourself." "No," I said, painting the porch railing a stark, clean white. "Let her paint whatever picture she wants. I'm busy painting a house." "She contacted Mom," my sister added gently. "She was crying, said she didn't mean it, that she was just showing off for her friends. She said the apartment feels haunted without you. Tell Mom to block her. She also said she can't afford the rent alone." I dipped the brush into the can. "Not my problem. She's a senior VP. She can figure it out." Phase 4, the rebuild. My architecture firm let me work remote. I set up my drafting table in front of a bay window overlooking the valley. My designs became bolder, sharper. My boss noticed. "You're doing the best work of your career," he told me over a Zoom call. "Whatever you're doing up there, keep doing it." I wasn't weighed down by the constant need to validate someone else's fragile ego. I wasn't spending my mental energy navigating the minefield of her moods. 3 months in, I went into town for supplies. The local hardware store owner, the guy named Old Miller, nodded at me. "House is looking good, son. Saw you fix the roof." "Getting there," I said. "My niece is looking for a landscape architect for her nursery," Miller said, pointing to a flyer. "She needs someone who understands structure."
That's how I met Claire. She was the anti-Elena. She had dirt under her fingernails, laughed with her whole body, and didn't give a damn about status. We spent an afternoon walking the property of her nursery, discussing drainage and retaining walls. It was easy. It was quiet. It was real. 6 months after the dinner,
The final thread unraveled. I was in the driveway, tuning up the truck, when a sleek silver BMW crunched up the gravel. I didn't need to look to know who it was. Elena stepped out. She looked different. The polish was chipped. Her outfit was expensive but wrinkled, as if she'd been wearing it for too long. She looked around the property, at the restored porch, the blooming garden Claire had helped me plan, the fresh coat of slate blue paint on the siding. "You fixed it," she said. Her voice wasn't shrill. It was small. I wiped the grease from my hands on a rag. I did. She walked closer, her heels sinking into the soft earth. "I lost the apartment. I had to move in with Sarah. It's a nightmare. She charges me for coffee pods." I said nothing. "I miss you, Mark," she said, tears welling up. Genuine tears? Maybe. Or maybe just the realization that the shelf was gone and her life was cluttering the floor. I was stupid. I was drunk. I was trying to impress people who don't even like me. Julian fired me. Did you know that? Said I wasn't a culture fit anymore. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. And I was, in the same way you're sorry when you hear about a stranger's bad luck on the news. Distant, detached.
"Can we try again?" She gestured to the house. "This place, it has potential. We could make it amazing. I could decorate. We could be a power couple. The architect and the... Well, I'm consulting now." I looked at her. I really looked at her. I saw the ghost of the woman I thought I loved, superimposed over the stranger standing in my driveway. "Elena," I said softly. Hope flared in her eyes. "Yes?" "You were right." She blinked. "What?" "That night at the restaurant, you were right. I was a placeholder. I was safe. I was boring." "No, Mark, I didn't mean—" "But you were wrong about one thing," I interrupted. "I wasn't the shelf. I was the foundation, and you can't build a penthouse without a foundation." I tossed the rag onto the workbench. "This is my home," I said. "It's not a stepping stone, and there is no room in it for you." "You're really going to throw away 3 years?" she hissed, the old venom leaking through the cracks in her mask. "You're a petty, small man." "I'm a happy man," I corrected. "Please leave or I'll call the sheriff. Miller is a friend of mine." She stared at me, her mouth working, searching for the line that would cut me, the manipulation that would bring me to my knees. But she found nothing. I was a fortress she no longer had the blueprints for. She got back in her car, she slammed the door, she reversed aggressively, kicking up gravel, and sped down the driveway. I watched the dust clouds settle. The silence returned, filled only by the wind in the trees and the distant call of a hawk. Claire pulled up 10 minutes later in her battered pickup truck carrying 2 coffees and a roll of landscape fabric. "Who was the speed racer?" she asked, handing me a cup. "Just someone looking for directions," I said, taking a sip. It was black, just how I liked it. "They were lost." "Did you help them?" "I pointed them to the highway," I smiled. "Come on, let's get those retaining walls in." I didn't look down the road. I didn't check my phone. I picked up a shovel and broke the earth. The soil was rich and ready for growth. The past was a sunk cost, but the future? The future was something I was building with my own 2 hands. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily content. What would you have done in Mark's shoes? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next one.